All right, everybody. I've got another very special guest for y'all. Everybody, please welcome to the show, Jimmy Gasparo. Welcome, Jimmy.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on. I think we should start this the way that we start most things. Go Birds.
Oh, hi.
Delco born and raised, so big Eagles fan.
There you go. I knew I liked you right off the bat. No, it's been a weird. This is a comic show, everybody, but we're gonna talk football. It's been a really weird off season because, as you know, we're not used to so much change, and I feel like everything's changing right now, and we're constantly in the news cycle. And I'm almost avoiding social media just because I'm getting sick of listening to all this, especially the AJ Brown stuff. I'm like, just either leave or don't. Just please, just tell me what you're doing.
I know. I always get, I guess, a little apprehensive when it's something like this because we've had a couple of good years, although, we also in the midst of having like a couple of like good seasons had probably the biggest, collapse. We've also seen like, a few seasons ago when they had like the biggest collapse probably in Eagles history when they lost like 5 or 6 games in a row, just made it to the playoffs, was like out in the first round. And, then we had a couple of good seasons. And I just don't know what is going to happen. And it's weird. I feel the same way about the Phillies. Like we've had a couple of good seasons as the Phillies made it to the World Series. And now I just feel like I have no idea what to expect, now that it's starting up again.
I expect the Phillies to do a playoff run and be bounced by the second or third round. Like it's, I love Harper. I've loved Harper since he joined the league, but I just don't know. I don't know what this team is. And
I don't either.
Yeah, I don't blame him for what happened to the Team USA. I think he did his job, but like that wasn't very. That didn't help my feelings of it either. Like, okay, you guys couldn't even beat. Like, no offense to Venezuela, but we should be winning the World Baseball Cup, in my opinion. So, if not us, Japan. But yeah.
Yeah, it was a little odd. I think they also had some coaching issues with the World Baseball Cup or Classic as well. Yeah. But the Eagles, I don't know. I've just always been I've been a fan for a while now. I think for some reason as a kid I was like oddly a Giants fan, and then I grew out of that. I think it was just going against the grain of like where I grew up and wanting to be something different. And then then I really embrace the Eagles, and it's like the one sport that I really do my best to follow.
I like a lot of sports, but that's the one where like it doesn't have to be an Eagles game. I'll watch a football game. I just love the sport so more than any other sport, and and it's funny because Charlie McKelvey writes comics for Blind Squirrel.
I know Charlie.
Every season we have a joke because he's a Giant or not Giants fan, a Cowboys fan. Where like for the week the Eagles are playing the Cowboys, we hate each other and we like throw shots at each other on Twitter and everything. But in all honesty, he sees my like doomer takes throughout the season because I'm an Eagles fan, so I'm a doomer. And he's just like, dude, it's fine. They're gonna be great and everything. And last seasons I was doing it, I'm like, season's over, we're done. I'm not even worried about it. And he's sending me all this stuff like, it's gonna be good, man. It's gonna be good. And I'm like, no, first round drop, I guarantee it. And then when that playoff game happened, he just sent me a thing. Goes, oh, I guess you were right. Like, yeah, Charlie, I know, I'm right.
Yeah. My favorite bit of Eagles personal lore is my very first Eagles game. And I haven't been to many Eagles games over the years, but I've been to a couple of them. But the very first Eagles game I attended I was 10 years old. It was 1989, and it was the Eagles. I think it was the Cowboys, although it could have been the Giants. And it was it was a bunch of 5th graders, and I just remember the chaperones or the parents being the moms. Like it wasn't the dads for some reason. It was like moms and a bunch of kids. 1989 Vet Stadium, and it was the game after which they implemented the only 2 beers per person at the stands. That's how rowdy the game was. And that was that I think that it kind of solidified at the age of 10 my love of the Philadelphia Eagles, because the things we saw there, we became men that day.
Ironically, my first live Eagles game was at so I grew up in Western New York, so it was Eagles-Bills.
Oh,
it was either 99 or 2000. Bills were, and it was Andy Reid's first year or second year. It might have been, I think it was his first year. And yeah, so we're watching the game and everything. Bills are crushing the Eagles. And if anyone doesn't know football, the Bills were god awful back then. And like at halftime, they pulled the starting quarterback and they brought in this, this rookie guy that we drafted that year called Donovan McNabb. Put him in the game. And he just got smacked around the whole game. But I left so happy with my McNabb jersey as a kid. Dude, me and my dad never looked back.
That's awesome. Oh, I love that.
But, well, we could talk Eagles for the whole hour, but you do write comics, so we're going to talk about that. Jimmy, I got to get your origin story as you're being a first-time guest here.
Sure.
What's your kind of got you into comics, and what's kind of been your journey through this world into creating comics? I know you got a little bit of an interesting one compared to a lot of people we talk to.
Yeah. So, I mean, I read comics as a kid. Just my dad would take my brother and I to the comic shop, and we would, buy whatever looked interesting. I mean, I said it before, but the best way to describe, like, my dad was into comics. And he would take us to the comic shop, and my dad would buy #1 issues like it was like his investment plan, just like he was going to be a speculator and they were going to grow in value.
Still see those guys every week.
Yeah. So there was never like, I don't ever remember following like a particular series. It would just be, we'd go in and we'd buy whatever was on the shelf that looked interesting. So I was familiar with comics as a kid. I probably read DC more so than Marvel, and just, whatever Saturday morning cartoon had a comic book or whatever else, like I said, looked fun. And then for years I got away from comics, just doing other stuff, whether or not it was schoolwork or reading for school, and was out of comics for like a very long time. And it wasn't until, probably when Comixology came around and I had an iPad and I was like, oh, I could read these, read comics digitally. I always liked comics. I could kind of get back into it. And then I had gone to a Wizard World in Philly, and there was all this stuff about like the different color Green Lanterns. And I really liked Green Lantern as a kid. I didn't know anything about what was going on in the current Green Lantern line at all. And so I was kind of curious about it. So I went and got, I think Blackest Night was just coming out. So I bought a bunch of the really gorgeous Blackest Night hardcovers and read them, really liked the story, had no idea who anybody was, because I don't think I had read a DC comic in 20 years. So, but it got me back into comics. It also helped that when my wife and I moved to Delaware with our youngest, our oldest now, there was a really great comic shop right down the street. So I would take my daughter there on the weekends. We'd hit the library, we'd hit the park, we'd hit the comic book shop, and they were great. They were lovely. It's still there. It's different owners now, but it's just awesome. And being there and meeting the staff and meeting people kind of got me back into reading more current comics. So I was kind of reading stuff that I was picking up at the comic book shop, and then going back and reading things that I had missed and trying to catch up on current DC continuity, and then just looking up different series that people had said over the years that were really good that I had never read, like Watchmen and Why the Last Man, and just was, my local library has a great comic book selection, so I was just reading a ton of comics, just totally dove back in. So I was reading them digitally, getting them from the library, buying them from the shop, and I got into more indie comics, although I was reading DC and some indie stuff, and just from posting about comics, online, stuff that I was reading that I liked. Matt Ligeti, who had started Comic Book Yeti, reached out to me about reviewing stuff. And I think the first couple of times I was like, well, I know nothing about artwork. I just like reading comics. I don't have that knowledge. And like right around that same time it was probably 2020, I was reading so many comics and I thought, I would like to try and write these. I had harbored no aspirations as a younger person as to being a writer. I went to college in Philly at St. Joe's, then went to Temple Law School, and April will be 20 years that I've been a practicing attorney. But just from reading so many comics and posting about them online, I really like the indie community. I thought I'd try my hand at writing them. The first thing I ever tried to do was I submitted to the 2020 Mad Cave talent search. I did that for 2 or 3 years. I never won, but it was, they have a lot of submissions. It was a really good experience. There's no bar to entry. You don't have to pay to enter it. You just have to write a script. So I did that. I liked the experience of writing it, and I just, would find anthologies online and just submit a pitch or write a script, and that's kind of how I started out, and was published a handful of times, and then got to a point where I wanted to try and pitch a longer series or to do something more, and I ended up pitching what became Penny and the Yeti with the co-creator and artist Amber Aiken. So my journey as a writer started in 2020, and now 6 years later I'm a month away from my first all ages graphic novel. So that's kind of the whole. Did
you ever, as you were writing
long-winded? Yeah, I was going to say that's like my whole long-winded rambling explanation of my origin story.
Oh, good. So anyone out there, I think we have a little bit of a delay, but we'll power through it. So, as you're writing the reviews, and then eventually you end up doing a podcast with Comic Book Yeti as well, was there any thought during that this would be the thing that led to you writing something, or was this just kind of, at the time, you thinking, like, this is my place in the industry, and I'm happy with it, or what was kind of your thought process going into that before you got anything published?
Yeah, I mean, it all happened at around the same time, which is odd. I mean, the first thing I started to try and write, it was probably mid-2020. And I started with Comic Book Yeti early 2021 and probably had my first 4-page short with artist Beck Kubrick published in 2021 as well. I just thought it would be, I do Comic Book Yeti, I do written interviews, I do the podcast, and then maybe every once in a while I would publish, a short or get a short published or something like that. I didn't really expect that I'd ever do something like a full-length graphic novel. It was certainly something I was interested in, but yeah.
And was that the one you did with Beck? Was that the one you got published in by Visibility?
Yeah, that was the first one. Lifeline Comics, by Visibility. It was the first thing I ever had published. Kat worked as the editor. Kat's great. Phil's great. Phil Falco, who also is with Lifeline Comics, and they've been doing amazing stuff the past couple of years. But yeah, that story I had by Visibility was the first thing I ever had published, and yeah, it's just a great. I don't know. There's very few things I can compare it to when you write something and an artist interprets that, and you see something published. Like for me, that was like such a thrill. Yeah.
When you're pitching to anthologies like that, and I guess as a kind of this would be an A and B kind of question, but when you're pitching to a anthology like that, what brings you to that pitch? Like, is it something in particular about that anthology that makes you want to write for it? And then it's kind of the B with by Visibility in particular. What brought you to that one?
Well, first off, I think when you're first starting out, you're just like pitching to everything. It's like it feels like a numbers game, Because I think I probably got something accepted for every 8 to 10 rejections. So I think when you're first starting out, it's just whatever's out there. if you have a story idea for some anthology, no matter what it was, yeah, I think you would pitch to it. I think by visibility, I thought it was I love the stuff that I've seen Lifeline do before then, and I thought I had a really good story idea too. I saw by visibility. The comic that Beck and I did was called LGBTQ RPG, and it was basically friends that play. It's a 4-page short, and it was about friends that play D&D, and two of the guys in it, their characters kind of have a relationship in their D&D world, and then the one of the characters kind of develops feelings for his friend, and he's someone that has only ever dated women before, and he was kind of exploring his feelings and sexuality through the D&D, and then they kiss at the end, which was nice.
Yeah, I always find those types of books interesting, because they're outside of my scope, as being a straight guy, but also I noticed they're very popular in like the manga space. I've read a lot about how like the boy love or those kinds of books are very popular in that space, and I just don't see it over in our space.
Yeah.
So I'd love to see that people are trying it over here, and so I guess what I'm saying is it's a curiosity because it's a blind spot for me because it's not stuff that I normally would pick up or read.
Yeah, I don't read manga. It's just not anything I ever got into when I was younger, and I have a huge hole in my comics knowledge about manga. But I'm from friends that do. I do know it is very popular. Like it seems its own specific subgenre. And I mean, we certainly have LGBTQ themed or queer themed, comics, but yeah, it does not seem like it's as popular in Western comics as it is in manga. But yeah, I mean, it's always great when people can see themselves in the characters that they read. I think representation. I don't think it's trite to say that it is really important. It's nice to see yourself reflected in the stuff that you read or view.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Greg, I've told the story a bunch of times. Growing up, my best friend is black, and it was always kind of a joke that his favorite character is Green Lantern. And mind you, we're growing up during Batman animated series and Justice League Unlimited and all these things, and we're kind of like Green Lantern. Green Lantern. As a kid, you're like, we got Batman, dude. Like Green Lantern's lame. And then as an adult, I'm like, oh yeah, it's because it's Jon Stewart. It was the one black guy. That's why.
Yeah,
but
makes sense.
Yeah. No, it's interesting. And then you eventually take a bunch of those stories and you kind of collect them on your own with this Made in Delco short that you did. Was that your first Kickstarter campaign?
It was. So I had a few stories published in a couple of anthologies, and I also had a couple of things that either the anthology didn't happen after making it, or just something that I thought was kind of fun, and I was like, oh, you know what, I'll get this made. I don't know if I'll ever do anything with it. Maybe I'll just put it out, on social media and be like, hey, here's a short comic. And so I had collected some of those, and I had a couple of different ideas. I had scripts in the mix. And so, yeah, I thought, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do my first Kickstarter. We'll do a book, and I'll collect a couple of the stories that have already been published and a few that haven't been yet, and put it together. And also, I thought it'd be nice if for some reason I do want to take the next step as a creator. I go to Baltimore Comic-Con every year. I think it's a fantastic convention, and I could take it with me. And maybe if I run into an editor or see somebody from a company and just, hey, here's a sample of some of the stuff I do. And so, yeah, amazing the support I had in the community. I mean, I think a lot from the podcast and from Comic Book Yeti, but we pretty much hit one of our stretch goals. So I added 3 stories to it that I had scripts for, so I was able to hire artists to put those together. Called it Made in Delco because I couldn't really think of a theme, but I was made in Delco, and I had Heather Vaughn, who I love. Heather did like a fantastic kind of ode to Wawa cover, which I really love. And it ended up being like 94 pages or so. There's a lot of different stuff in there, and I thought it turned out really well. Brenda Snell designed it, and Brenda did a phenomenal job putting it all together, and I thought it looked really great. So once all the stories got done and we collected it, and it took longer than anticipated, unfortunately. But yeah, it's all out. Everybody has their digital copy. Everyone's got their physical copy. So I really enjoyed doing the Kickstarter. It can be a little stressful, but I was really happy with how the book came out, and I hope people liked it.
Yeah, I like on the page, like you get a little taste of each story, and I like that you go with completely different artists for each one. Not only just the fact they're different people, but the styles for each one are just so drastically different. And I think that makes, everybody tries to do like an anthology with a theme, and I know certain people have done very well with that on, especially on Kickstarter, but just across comics. But I do kind of like that one writer, 10 artists, let's just see how many cool stories we can throw out there kind of anthology. I think those can be very interesting as well. So it's really cool to see you did that.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I had a lot of fun with it, and got to work with some friends in the industry. And also, one of the stories, The Fear Endures, was co-written with Byron O'Neill, who's the current editor-in-chief and the other host of the Comic Book Yeti Cryptid Creator Corner podcast. So that was like Byron's first kind of comic credit in terms of writing a story. So that was really cool that Byron and I got to do that. But also the artist was Chris Sheehan. I love Chris's work. So just to have a 8-page story in there that Chris did, I thought was really cool. It was great working with him. And then we did another story called Kevin, which is kind of about my friend Kevin a little bit. Just about, because we always joke with my friend Kevin that he always brings up really ridiculous arguments a lot of times. Like he's the guy that like always wants to debate whether or not Die Hard is actually a Christmas movie. And then look, whatever your take on it is, it's fine. But to continue to bring it up. So as a joke, I had this idea of two best friends that survive an apocalypse, and then the one realizes that his buddy, who he's now stuck with for the rest of his life, I guess, is kind of annoying. And I called it Kevin, and James Killian, who is a fantastic Irish artist. I got James to do it. I think that's the one that's colored by Gab Contreras. I love Gab's work. Buddy Beaudoin lettered it. I'm a huge Buddy fan. Buddy lettered Penny and the Yeti. So yeah, that was just like a lot of fun to do and to send it to Kevin. And he did eventually read it, and he's like, "Yeah, I really like it." I was like, "Oh, good."
Yeah, because that could have gone one of two ways.
Yeah.
So this is one you did last year, and I didn't see any others that you're doing on Kickstarter. Did that give you the bug to do more like kind of indie work on Kickstarter? Maybe build a following there.
It did. Just with getting that done, I didn't want to take on too much. I got that done, and now we're I've been doing a lot of promotion, getting the word out for Penny and the Yeti. So once I get through this and like the book's out, I'll feel like I'll be able to figure out what is next. And I have an idea. I've pitched it around, but nobody's really bitten on it. But I really would like to do like maybe something like a 30-page one shot with this idea I have, and see and how it does on Kickstarter, and go from there. So I have most of it scripted. It's just a matter of getting the artists who I want have time to kind of put some pages together, so we have something to show for Kickstarter and get a cover done. But yeah, I feel like it's definitely viable. It's great to have a publisher. Obviously, there's reasons in terms of not only like pay, if you get paid a page rate for making it, and distribution, but it's nice to know that Kickstarter is there as a viable option. And it's great seeing people that have really created like an amazing following on Kickstarter. You know, like Charlie McKelvey you mentioned, or Charlie Stickney, the two Charlies, they do very well on Kickstarter.
Yeah, as I say, throughout your years, you've definitely met some people that would give you a hand. Like, I know I've met people who give me a hand, and I don't even do it. But they're just bugging me to do it just so they can help me. So that's how the community is out there.
It really is wonderful. I mean, I'm on a couple of different Discords, and it's just that's been the best thing about. That's been one of the best things about doing the podcast. I mean, meeting people and getting on a Discord, or just finding folks on social media, or people you can talk to if you go to conventions who are willing to help, willing to give their time. It's definitely, at least the folks that I've met and tried to surround myself with, are a rising tide raises all boats kind of mentality, which has been, which has been amazing. And also it's great because you do have access to other, artists and colorists and letterers and other people that you can kind of, rely on and get in touch with to help make your comics if that's what you want to make. So,
yeah.
It's been great. The other great thing about the podcast is like talking to so many people about creating. It's been like a masterclass in making comics. Just listen, not just about, well, what's the plot of your comic and things like that, but why do you make certain narrative choices? Like, what do you think is really important in terms of getting somebody who picked up issue 1 to pick up issue 2, like writing towards the page turn, just different things like that. You just hear other creators talk about it, and it's really inspiring and helpful in terms of telling your story.
Yeah. I like to talk more about the themes of the story and like what people are, and then also get to know people a little bit. Like, I feel like one thing that gets missing in a lot of our podcast field is, in the comic space at least, is the person that's writing the book or drawing the book. I love listening about like the process too, but I always thought that was a big thing, was like, people don't understand that probably 90% of the people I have on this show, and that includes people that are published by Image and Dark Horse, Marvel, they have day jobs and they just do this in their free time, as you I'm sure do. So it's always interesting just talking to people and getting to know more about what they're doing.
I think that's amazing in terms of what you do, is that you do get a more of a sense of who the person is, and to be able to just have a nice conversation. That's like, I really like that about your show.
Appreciate that. So with that said, because I'd love to get into a lot about this book, you're here to promote Penny and the Yeti. So first of all, congrats on with Paper Cuts, because I cannot believe the reach that company has, and nobody knew about them until 2 years ago when they. But they are everywhere. So congrats on that. But what is Penny and the Yeti, as kind of a starter for our conversation?
Sure. So a real quick history, I guess, in terms of it. My daughter Penny and I came up with a story idea 4 years ago. And Penny's here. Penny, you want to say hi? she's down here playing in the basement while I'm on the podcast. But say hi to Chris. That's
Hello.
Penny. So 4 years ago, when I was putting Penny to bed, we came up with a story idea. We were just talking about. I'd asked her what did she have plans over the summer, and she said, "No, did I have any?" And I'm like, "Well, I got to work. That's what adults have to do over the summer. We still have to work." And she's like, "You should write a story." And I said, "Well, what should it be about?" And they know that I do stuff with Comic Book Yeti, so she's like, "It should be about a Yeti." And I said, "All right, well, it should. You got to be in it too." So we came up with this idea for Yeti and the Big Stomp, which is Penny and the Yeti go to a diner. The diner doesn't have what the Yeti wants. Yeti gets mad, does a big stomp, cracks the diner, goes outside upset. And so Penny goes out and talks to the Yeti and says, it's all right to have these big feelings, but sometimes we got to figure out a way to deal with them better than breaking the diner. And it was just a cute little 4-page story that we talked to ourselves about. And I thought it would be a great way to show her how comics are made. Mm-hmm. And so I reached out to Beck Kubrick from By Visibility's the story that we did. Beck wasn't available, but gave me a couple of names of people she knew, and one was Amber Aiken. And as soon as I saw Amber's portfolio, I was like, well, this is perfect. So Amber and I did this 4-page short, really as a way to show Penny how comics were made. I thought it'd be a neat thing for a kid to kind of see. Mm-hmm. And so about a year or so later, when Mad Cave opened their open submissions, I wanted to pitch something. I wanted to kind of take that next step, really as a way to just kind of force myself to do it. And so the only art that I really had at the time was from the Yeti and the Big Stomp. And so I tried to think of, like, how could I build a story around this? Like, is it just going to be about Penny and the Yeti? Is it just going to be about their friendship? What would be interesting? And I thought about this story where there's a family that the parents are arguing quite a bit. The 2 kids in the family, the youngest one, Penny, is really bothered by it. And she doesn't know really how to express how much her parents arguing upsets her. Like, they're not arguing, at her, or yelling at her, or disciplining her or anything. It's just their relationship with one day this Yeti just kind of like walks off a page of a drawing into Penny's life. And then Penny thinks the Yeti's there to help her parents to stop fighting, which as adults, we know that doesn't really work. That's not how adult relationships work. Kids aren't responsible for their parents' relationship. And so everything Penny and Yeti does, it doesn't really work. But along the way, Penny and Yeti have some like really super fun adventures. And so that's like kind of the basis of the book. And I sent Amber the outline. I asked if she was okay if I pitched this. And the whole time I was like, I don't know if anything will happen, but do you mind? She's like, no, not at all. And so, I pitched it, and like a month or so later, I heard from Paper Cuts that they were interested in it. And then before I knew it, Amber and I were making our first graphic novel. But from the 4-page short conception to the outlining it to pitching it and now to having the book a month away from coming out was about 4 years.
Oh yeah, is you 130 pages worth of book?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's some extras in there. I think it's actually about 116 or 118 a story.
Okay, so that's 5 or 6 issues worth of.
Basically, when I outlined it, and like I did like one level outline for the pitch, and then Paper Cuts, our editor Stephanie Brooks, wanted to see a more detailed outline. So that's how I broke it down as like, five different sections, about 22 or 23 pages a section, and so that's how I kind of laid it all out. And then I had a little bit of wiggle room. I think we added a couple of pages as we went in the editing process.
And when you get that call, email, Perrier Kitchen, whatever they send out from Paper Cuts, what was that feeling coming back from them as a guy who's done a bunch of short stories and is now going to be published by one of the premier all ages publishers?
Yeah, it was a little bit of excitement and a little bit of terror because look, I'm a practical person. I don't think I'm a pessimist. I don't know that I'd ever call myself like an optimist, but all along the way, I kept telling myself like this might amount to nothing. Like it might amount to nothing. And then when we actually signed the contract, I still remember I came downstairs. My computer was upstairs at the time. My wife, Sarah, was sitting on the couch, and she saw the look on my face. And she's like, "What's wrong?" And I'm like, "We just signed the contract for Penny and the Yeti." And she goes, "Well, that's great. Why do you look like that?" I'm like, "I just told these people I could write a full-length graphic novel."
I got no clue what I'm doing over here. I haven't noticed yet.
She's like, "Well, I guess you should have thought about that beforehand." I was like, so they asked, like, "Did you have any more of the script?" And I'm like, "No." I said, "I didn't." I said, "Give me 3 months." And they're like, "Oh, that's fine. That's fine." So, yeah. I think I took May, June, and July, and I think I sent into our editor and also to Amber the first full draft of the entire script within 3 months, like August 1st or 2nd. I think I told him I'd have it by the end of July, and I think I sent it to him August 2nd, so I was, pretty close to what I thought I could do. And then we just started editing from there, but yeah, it was like a little bit like, I wanted to have that confidence of, well, if you want to be a writer, you have to write. These are the things you have to do.
Yep.
But then the prospect of actually doing it, and then like, oh, what if I'm, I've written, the most I've written is like an 8 or 10 page short. Now I'm talking about 100. I think I initially pitched it as 114 pages. I was like, what if I'm terrible at it? And I'm like, well, I'm just going to do the best I can. What would I tell my kids? Just do your best.
Jimmy, my two oldest nephews are at that age where they're getting ready to, like, one's 19, one's 23, and they're going out into the world and trying to figure shit out, and they don't know what's going on. And I gave them one advice because he has this whole plan he wants to do, and I was like, you've heard it from everybody, but I'm telling you, just go do it. Don't think about it. Don't plan it. Don't try to figure it out. Just go do it. Go schedule a thing and get it done. And I go, honestly, that terror of, well, I said I'd do it, now I have to do it, you're going to figure it out along the way. I go, I see so much of myself in you, and I know, and that's everything. Like everything I've done, from this podcast to my work career, everything. It's like I just tell people I can do it, and then I sit down, I'm like, oh shit, I don't know how to do that.
Yeah. I get it.
I feel like that's the constraints in life are what help you figure out how to get stuff done. And will it be perfect? Will it be the best? Like, if it was me and I'm writing something, like, do I expect it to be the next Alan Moore? Probably not. But, like, it's going to get the best out of me. And I'm sure it got the best out of you in that situation.
I mean, I love this book.
Yeah.
The story means a lot to me. I love Amber's work on it. I mean, everyone at Paper Cuts. It was just an absolutely amazing experience. I mean, like, no bullshit. It was, Paper Cuts was great to work with. We had 2 different editors on it, Stephanie Brooks and then Teddy Leo came in. They were both fantastic. Everybody in Paper Cuts, like, marketing team has been great. I mean, Amber was an absolute dream to work with as a co-creator and artist. They would ask us if we knew other people to work on different aspects of the book. Like, oh, have you ever worked with anybody before that you would like to see on the book? And I'm like, well, nothing better than having somebody that you like and respect in the industry. So I'm a big fan of Tim Daniel's work. I threw out his name. They got Tim Daniel to design the logo. I threw out Buddy's name as a letterer, and they got Buddy to letter the whole book. So, yeah, it's just been, an incredible experience. But to get back to what you were saying, is when anybody asks me, especially young people that find out that, in addition to lawyering, that I have started this journey as writing comics, and they're like, what do you think is the most important thing? And I'm like, perseverance. A lot of people just give up or have something else to do or whatever it might be. But most people I think are successful. Yes, there are some people who are lucky, who are in the right place at the right time. That's going to happen. But a majority of the folks I know are successful because they just kept doing it. And that was it. They just kept doing it and it paid off, or they got better at it, like whatever it might have been. So that's the thing, and especially in a creative field, whether or not you want to be an artist, an actor, a director, a writer, whatever it is, just keep doing it. Yeah. Just don't let anybody tell you no. Find a way to do it and keep doing it.
Jimmy, I know you get these comments because everybody gets these comments, but they're my favorite. You're a terrible podcaster. I could do better. I was just responding with, good, go do it, please.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, yeah.
Go do it.
Talk to me in 10 years and tell me how burnt out you are.
Yeah.
Guess what? I've been here for 10 years, guys. Like, it's you're not getting rid of me that easy.
I've been doing the podcast for 4 years now, and yeah, go do it. Yeah. Do your thing. Everybody has a podcast. I love what I do. People come on the show, and I have a nice time. And I've had people that they come back. So clearly, it was at least worth their time as creators. But I enjoy doing it, and we're gonna find an audience of people that, you know, either like the folks that we have on, or like something about it, or whatever it might be. But yeah, that's true. Then you do it. Go ahead.
Yeah,
you're not hurting me. So, I'm going to keep doing it.
So I say all the time, a little bit of a swerve here, but back to Penny and the Yeti. I say all the time that I stopped saying books are bad or like that book's crap or whatever. I just say it's not for me, and I think that's a good thing. Going back to like buy visibility, it's not for me, but I'm glad it exists. I'm glad somebody's getting something out of it. Same with all ages books. I'm a big proponent of all ages books, especially what Paper Cuts is doing, because selfishly, Jimmy, I want to be sitting next to you in the retirement home reading the next issue of Batman. And the only way we do that is if kids are reading these damn things.
Yeah.
And so I love that you went down that route. But with this, obviously you had this story, connection with your daughter and all this. But outside of that, you have to tell the story. And what did you hope to instill into the story for that audience that Paper Cuts is going for, which is usually the younger reader in this? Like, is there any kind of grand like lesson or theme that you're going for in this?
Yeah, I mean, I can answer that in a couple of different ways. I do read and have read a ton of all ages stuff. Some of it I like, some of it I agree with you, not for me. Yeah. I try to do the same thing where I'm like, oh, this is bad or this is whatever. I mean, from a technical standpoint, I certainly think at this point, I know when something is maybe poorly executed or maybe there were some bad choices made, but I try not to be vocal about that stuff, on social media, because making anything is hard work, and I don't want to undercut the fact that somebody probably did put a ton of work into whatever it is. So some things aren't for me, but I read a lot of them because, I read with my kids, and I've been reading with them since they were born pretty much, or at least reading to them, and now that they can both reading with them. So I wanted to have something that if this was a book that parents read with kids, that I thought parents would get something out of it as well, and that I thought kids would like. For maybe kids that are a little older and are able to read on their own, if there is a kid who is in a situation like Penny is, where maybe there's that tension in the house, that maybe they'll be able to empathize with Penny. I mean, if it gives them a way to talk about how the situation in the house affects him, that would be amazing. But also I really wanted to focus on the friendship with Penny and Yeti. And in the midst of all the other stuff going on in the book, I wanted to create a friendship that I thought was based upon kindness and empathy and, just something that when you read it, you're like, oh, that's great. I want that. I want the Penny and Yeti type of friendship with my friends, especially as young kids. I think it's important for kids to see like there are other ways to, that there's to show this way of being friends, and always kind of coming from a place of kindness or empathy. So I don't know. We tried to do a couple of different things with the book. Hopefully people think we were successful. We put a lot of work into it, though, to make sure that, because there's no finality on what happens with the parents in it. Like, it's not, we're like, oh, they're getting divorced, or, oh, they're definitely staying together. Mm-hmm. Because I didn't want a kid whose parents are divorced reading it to feel bad. And also, I don't think kids are responsible for their parents' relationship. So anything Penny and Yeti tries doesn't really work. But I just thought it was a situation where I don't see a lot in kids' books or all ages books, where it's hard to deal with that, that sense in the house where there's always that tension and stress, or a majority of the time. And I kind of wanted to talk about that. And if anything, that's kind of like the deeper part of the book. But, Amber and I both tried to infuse a lot of fun in it. Penny and Yeti get into some wacky adventures, and, a kid could read this book and just get that out of it. And that would be amazing. So.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's great because, that's definitely, you see it all the time with kids. Like, the tension in the house or the relationship in the house affects their mental well-being. And it's great to hear that you put some thought into that as part of this. You said there's not really a finality to that, and I know that's part of the story that you wanted to tell. Is there also a part of you that, like, there's this is a grand success and Paper Cut's really happy they come back to you? Like, where's Penny and the Yeti 2?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'd love to do another one. Because I think with a family like this, and there's a ton of different, stuff we could do. Like the focus on book 2 doesn't have to be about parents' relationship. Like there's a lot of other stuff in terms of the family dynamic and other things I would want to talk about. And I have a definite idea and a plan, for book 2 if they want one and if they like it. And if they want me to if they want a book 2 and want me to go in a different direction, I'm happy to do that too. And I know Amber has said that she just really loves drawing these characters and would definitely be on to do more in this world. I would do whatever they wanted in terms of a book 2 to work with Amber again. I mean, there were just so many pages that I got back that I just thought were just incredible. That exceeded any expectation I had of what it could look like when I started to write, the panel description. And it was just, there's just an amazing feeling of, especially in comics, when you write something and an artist interprets it and you start to get those pages in and you start to see the book come together. Yeah, it's like, I would do this for as long as they let me.
Is this Amber's normal kind of style that she draws in?
Yes, it is. Yeah. She's told me she loves to draw cute things, and she loves to draw kind of magical, whimsical things. So yeah, this is her style, and I loved her style, and I thought, because I wanted the family to feel very real and authentic, and I thought the more the family felt real, the better the payoff would be with when Amber gets to draw some of the more imaginative things. Because Penny and Yeti both have pretty big imagination, so when they want to play in the snow, they just picture that the sunny backyard is now covered in snow. And then, that's the great thing about comics. It's the same budget.
Yeah.
I don't need a special effects budget. I don't need a green screen. I just like, Amber, this is what it's going to look like. And Amber just knocks it out of the park, and then they can imagine whatever it is they want. There's a great scene where they go to the library, and the library has a mural of a castle, and it just kind of becomes a medieval setting for them to actually play in, the library and make it seem like they've entered this magical world. But it's just, super fun, imaginative stuff.
Yeah. And it's funny you say your lack of knowledge kind of begins at manga, because I can tell that Amber has a huge manga influence. Just the way she draws faces, the way expressions pop up in the book, and like the scenes and everything. She's definitely somebody that reads a ton of manga.
I think there is a definite influence there. She's told me a bit of a manga anime influence. She also said she was very influenced by because she really loved Adventure Time. So there's like an Adventure Time influence as well. But yeah,
I could definitely see that. So so the book is coming out. You said prior to recording, last order cutoff is the 30th.
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah, March 30th is final order cutoff. And then the book will be out April 21st.
And is April 21st for everything? Because I know Paper Cuts does bookstores, and they have a huge distribution reach, right?
Yeah, I think if April 21st is the Tuesday, then most bookstores, and I think if you order it, will be Tuesday. And then usually for comic shops, it comes out on that Wednesday, the 22nd.
Okay. And is that exciting for you, like being in bookstores, the possibility of like Barnes & Noble or...
It's honestly, it's all exciting. Like, it's just, you know, wild to think that I'm going to have this book coming out. And yeah, my local comic shop has said that they would be interested in doing like a signing on May 2nd, which is whatever they're calling Free Comic Book Day now. Cause I think Diamond sold the rights to to trademark the name. So I don't know if it's still called Free Comic Book Day or...
I think Lunar got it. I'd have to
did they?
look that up. I'm pretty sure DC's still using Free Comic Book Day. It's Marvel that isn't. They're using like...
Oh, okay.
I forget what... Theirs is stupid. I'm a big Marvel fan, but theirs was really stupid. So,
well, whatever it is, the first Saturday in May 2nd. Yeah. So my local shop in Wilmington, Delaware, are going to... they said they would be interested in doing a signing. So... That's just wild to think like, oh, it's my first signing at my local shop for this book. And Penny's in the 3rd grade, and I'm going to go in one day in May and talk to both 3rd grades at her school about the book and about making comics in general and about telling stories. Yeah. So that's just like, it's just, yeah, it's amazing to think. I'm just very lucky and very excited. So.
Yeah, and being your first big thing, I guess you're doing the signing for your local comic shop. Have you been doing the old school, like on the phones with different shops, trying to convince them, or sending out emails, or?
I've sent out emails. I've been sending out emails. I haven't done too many like calling them, but you know, that might be this week before final order cutoff. You know, I think Paper Cuts does a pretty good job doing some promotion. But yeah. It's, I think that's important to kind of make connections with those types of shops. So, you know, I've been trying to do that for at least a lot of the ones in my area, and probably going to hit some of the others as well. And yeah, I'm happy to, you know, if anybody, I'm going to call places and tell them like, hey, if you want to do a signing or do this, I just want to try and get the word out, you know. So
yeah, definitely. I mean, and for you, that's going to do wonders down the line. When you have a relationship with these shops, that they know, like, oh, we brought in this Penny and Yeti book by him, and it did well. Let's bring in his Killstorm Volume 3 book, or whatever your next thing is, you know?
If you haven't yet, though, Chris, if you decide to write, I'd trademark Killstorm now.
And I guess kind of as a secondary to that, because what's interesting about Paper Cuts, and particularly this book, is you have an audience in bookstores. Like a mother, not necessarily a mother, just a parent is more likely to walk into a bookstore and buy something, a normie as I like to call them, and then their kid goes and sees this on the shelf and get it, than they would a comic shop. I mean, it's just averages. We know how small our industry is. Yeah. Has that been any thought for you too? Like I have an audience outside of comic shops here with this kind of book. Like maybe call up, I don't know if you have a local bookstore. Like I have a local bookstore that's owned by somebody in the community here in my town, that you could do something with as well.
Yeah. There's a not too far from me, like outside of Philly, in an area, for anyone that's not familiar with the area, there's an area called the Main Line, which basically runs down like Route 1. Which, as you go from City Ave towards, like, to the west, the neighborhoods just get fancier and fancier on the Main Line. But yeah, there's a children's bookstore in Haverford that I'm trying to set something up with. There's another great bookstore in Wilmington, in like the city itself. I'm going to forget the name of it. I think it's Hilo and Huxley, which is a great little bookstore, and they have honestly, if anyone's listening to this in Wilmington and you have not been to that bookstore, they also have like a fantastic coffee shop in the back where they have coffee from like all over the world. Like it's like and it's just some of the best coffee I have ever had. So if you're like a coffee fanatic, go get a book and get a cup of coffee from that place. It's tremendous. But yeah, I've been in there. I haven't officially like reached out to them yet, but I want to do that because they're an amazing place. They're an amazing local bookstore. Also, it's still like when people find out about it, they have a lot of questions like, where can I get it? Where can I do this? And I'm like, well, a comic book shop, but you can get it anywhere that you get, books or other, graphic novels, it is helpful for, I still have, as a lawyer, if a fellow member of the Delaware bar finds out about it, like there have been, not a lot, but there have oddly been a few people that were like, they still make comics. And I'm like, okay, yeah, they do. Yeah. Do you have an hour? I will tell you all about it.
That's not just lawyers, man. It's everywhere. Trust me.
Yeah, I know.
Well, no, and this just kind of popped in my head as something too, along with bookstores. What's be interesting because I know in the manga space, what's really big and what's becoming bigger in the comic space is libraries, and C2E2 is right around the corner. And I don't know if you know this, but Chicago is like one of the biggest cities in the world for like the library. Is it the Union or something? They have a big presence at C2E2, the library organization. Whoever controls that, the mafia that controls the libraries.
Right.
And that's not. I mean, once again, that's not a bad place for people to reach out to too. Like libraries. I mean, I know it's. I feel like any creator is going to say, like, I just want people to read it. I want people to get their hands on it. It change their lives. I get that. I understand the library. You're not going to make as much change as you do off a bookstore. But, like, hey, get it in the library. That's something. It gets in people's hands.
Chris, you're absolutely right. If there are creators out there who don't know this, one of the best things you can do is if people are like, well, I can't afford the book, or I don't know where to get it. If you have a local library, tell the local library. Most libraries have a system where you can suggest books for them to buy, and they might buy 1 or 2 copies, and then everybody that goes to that library will be able to get your book and read your book. Yeah, I already reached out. My local library in Delaware, the Brandywine 100 Library, is amazing. My family's been going there since we moved into the area like 13 years ago. They have a form if you're a local author that you can send in with like the purchase information about your book. I already did that, and they do sometimes bring in authors and artists, especially like comic books. Like I said earlier, I've read a ton of stuff thanks to the library. They have a great comic and graphic novel selection. That's how when I first got back into comics, that's how I was able to read all of Snyder and Capullo's Court of Owls Batman run. I would just go in and get 3 or 4 volumes at a time, and would, that's how I realized that I'm a big fan of Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo. I loved their Batman run. And yeah, so I've also working on a proposal to kind of do a similar event for like young kids, do a Saturday or Sunday at the library. Anybody who wants to attend can attend. It's absolutely free. And I'll just talk to them about, hey, how we make comics, how we make graphic novels, and how we tell stories.
I love that.
So yeah, hopefully that'll happen. But yeah, library is a great way to get word out about your book and for people to read it for free. But the library will buy a couple copies, so it's awesome.
Do you use their digital service too? Because I know my buddy Mike uses it a lot, and he says it's great for comics.
Yeah, my library has Hoopla, which is, for anyone that isn't familiar with it, it's a digital service that they don't just have comics; they have a bunch of stuff. But I use Hoopla. I've been using it for a couple of years. I love reading. I'll read stuff digitally, just because it's available. And then they also have Libby, which is another digital service for that's what I use for audiobooks. I love the library. I'd be much more in debt if I had to buy all the stuff that I've read the past 13 years at the library.
Yeah, I feel you there. So that's great. I mean, that's so cool. That idea just popped in my head, and you're like, no, I thought about this weeks ago, man. We're good. We're good.
No, but it's a great. Some people don't think about it and don't realize it. It's a fantastic way to get word out about there, and also because like if you don't want, I mean, you don't want somebody's income level or some what somebody can afford to be a bar to having access to your books or access to any books or whatever it might be, the library is fantastic. I love libraries, and it's just a great way. And also libraries do purchase stuff, so yeah.
So with that said, everybody, don't go ask your local comic shop. Just get it from the library for free. Jimmy says cool with that.
I am. I'm cool. I am cool with that. I am cool with get it from the library.
But for those of you with means, I expect you to buy 2.
Thank you. And donate one to your local library.
Yeah, those little boxes that people put in their front yards, put one of them in there too.
Yeah.
Why not?
I'm going to do that. We have a little library in my neighborhood. Penny and the Yeti's going to go in there.
Do you live in more of a city area? Like a more condensed population?
No, I live in it's North Wilmington. It's like the suburbs of Wilmington. I'm basically right near the Delaware County PA line. So it is the suburbs. I work in the city of Wilmington though. Yeah.
I live. My closest neighbor is a cow, so there's no. We don't do those fancy libraries in our front yards, there, Jimmy.
Oh, okay. It would just be you going out to get a book from it.
Me in the front yard, dude. Jimmy, I'll tell you this story. Is kind of a way to wrap everything up. This is one of my favorite stories because, mind you, I'm not gonna name names because he's a private guy, and he's a good guy. He's just I know a lot of rednecks, Jimmy. I'm in work one day, waiting for a meeting to pop up. I got my work done early, got my route done, sitting there. I'm in the back corner of the room reading some Star Wars novel. And this guy just walks in and just looks at me and goes, "Who reads books?" And then just sits down. I'm like, well, that explains everything So that's the community I live in, Jimmy.
Okay. Okay. Well, I mean,
people think New York and they think the city. This ain't the city, Jimmy.
Yeah. Yeah. You're Western New York, you said?
Yeah. If you get to Buffalo, you're good, but we're a little bit further east, I'll let you know off air. I don't want people coming to hunt me down. But anyways, man, Penny and Yeti, let people know once again, final cutoff date, when they can expect it in stores, all that. And anything else you want to say about the book before we kind of wrap up?
Sure, yeah. Final order cutoff is March 30th, so if you do have a local comic shop, if you could, let them know by then. But you can order it right from Paper Cuts, their website. I think they're still running it, but if you sign up for Paper Cuts newsletter, I think there's 25% off. Paper Cuts was doing that, and you can buy it from them or basically anywhere you get books and graphic novels. It'll be out April 21st, I think, at Bookstores, and I believe April 22nd at your local comic shop. But yeah, it's a story that means a lot to me. I mean, I do think it's a lot of fun as well. Amber's art is amazing, and the entire team, including Buddy Bedoin, the letterer, did a really fantastic job to bring you something I think you'll like and your kids will like. And yeah, I hope you pick it up. I hope you check it out. And that's about it.
Yeah,
I really appreciate you having me on, Chris.
It's very cute art, everybody. So definitely check it out. And then as my last question. Social media, do you do it? Do you want people to follow you anywhere? Obviously, you got the podcast. You can pimp that. Whatever you got going on.
Yeah, Comic Book Yeti is the website. You can check out Comic Book Yeti. There's a great team of people that do written interviews and reviews of comics. The Cryptid Creator Corner is the podcast where you can listen to it anywhere that you get your podcast. New episodes usually come out Tuesdays and Fridays. I say usually because sometimes I don't we don't get it edited in time just because Byron does. If I'm responsible for editing, I'm very slow. So, but usually Tuesdays and Fridays, we have over 400 episodes to listen to with fantastic comic creators and artists. Like this week, we have Aditya Bidikar and Sam talking about their new book, In Your Skin, and Frank Barberi will be on Friday talking about author Immortal. And I'm on Blue Sky at Jimmy Gasparo. Same for TikTok. Feel free to hunt me down on social media and follow me. That'd be nice.
Definitely. And everybody, check out the show notes down below. I will link to Penny and the Yeti, at least on the Mag Cave page, so you have a purchasing point to get it. But also, you can look at it, save it on your phone, and just walk in the shop and just shove it in the owner's face and be like, hey, this is what I want. I'm sure that works. I'm sure they don't hate that at all. And so, yeah, check out those show notes for all that and some of Jimmy's links as well. So, Jimmy, it's been a pleasure talking to you, man. Definitely, we'll have to do this again in the future, whatever the next book is. Hopefully it's Penny and the Yeti, Volume 2. But if it's, what I say earlier, Killdozer, Volume 2. Killstorm, Volume 3, we'll do that too. So I just appreciate your time, man, and just best of luck with the launch. It sounds like it's going to be a fun one.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate your time. I really love what you do. And I know it's hard, especially, doing a podcast, and it can be a bit of a grind, but I just think you do a really nice job talking to folks, and I think it's really great. So go Birds.
Thank you, and go Birds.